Welcome to Elevation Zone, your go-to destination for navigating life's challenges with confidence and resilience. Today, we're diving into a crucial aspect of personal growth: emotional maturity. Living as an emotionally mature adult isn't just about keeping your cool in difficult situations or understanding your feelings. It's about how you engage with others, handle conflict, and interpret the world around you. If you've ever heard of the books Games People Play by Eric Berne or I Am Okay, You Are Okay by Thomas A. Harris, you're already familiar with the idea that many of our interactions are shaped by unconscious patterns that often lead to emotional immaturity. In this video, we'll explore how to live like an emotionally mature adult by using key concepts from these two influential books. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of what emotional maturity looks like and how you can practice it every day. So, what exactly does it mean to be emotionally mature? Being emotionally mature means that you have control over your emotions, not the other way around. You don't allow stress, anger, or fear to dictate your actions. You're able to express your feelings in a healthy way and navigate relationships with respect and empathy. But as simple as that sounds, it can be a lot more difficult to achieve than it seems. Many of us fall into old, unconscious patterns of behavior that hinder our emotional growth. These patterns are what Eric Berne refers to as games in his famous work Games People Play. Games, in the context of emotional maturity, are psychological patterns that we fall into without even realizing it. They're not board games or sports games, but rather repetitive, unconscious behaviors that we play with other people. These games often start in childhood and, without awareness, continue into adulthood. They shape how we react in stressful situations and how we interact with others. Some of the most common games people play include things like "Why don't you?" "Yes, but," where one person makes a suggestion and the other constantly rejects it, or "I am okay, you are not okay," where one person manipulates the other into feeling inferior. These games often trap us in dysfunctional cycles and prevent us from behaving like emotionally mature adults. The first step in emotional maturity is becoming aware of these games. Once we recognize that we are playing these psychological games, we can choose to step out of them. But how do we do that? The key lies in understanding our emotional state and responding to others in a way that is honest, respectful, and constructive. One of the main concepts in Thomas Harris's book is the idea of the parent, adult, and child states of being. Harris suggests that we all have three internal voices that influence our behavior. The parent is the voice of authority and judgment. The child is the emotional and spontaneous part of us, often driven by need and desire. And the adult is the logical, rational, and objective part of our mind. To live emotionally mature lives, we need to operate primarily from the adult state. The adult is the part of us that can observe the situation objectively, make rational decisions, and interact with others in a healthy, balanced way. The challenge is that most people spend their lives oscillating between the parent and child states, which leads to emotional immaturity. The parent often dominates in ways that can be controlling or judgmental, while the child often reacts impulsively or out of fear. When you start to operate from the adult state, you make decisions based on logic and reason, not emotion. You can still experience emotions, but you don't allow them to drive your behavior. This is the foundation of emotional maturity. Now, let's talk about how we can recognize when we're not operating from the adult state and how to shift back to it. One of the most common signs that you're in the parent or child state is when you feel like you're reacting instead of responding. When you're in the parent state, you may find yourself giving unsolicited advice or trying to fix things for others. This can feel controlling or judgmental. When you're in the child state, you may feel vulnerable, defensive, or avoidant. You might throw a tantrum, sulk, or manipulate others to get your needs met. A key to living like an emotionally mature adult is recognizing when you're slipping into these states and making the conscious choice to step into your adult state. It requires self-awareness and self-discipline. But over time, as you begin to practice this, you'll notice a shift in your interactions with others and a deeper sense of emotional balance in your own life. This practice doesn't just apply to your relationship with others, it also applies to how you treat yourself. Emotional maturity requires that we learn how to treat ourselves with compassion and respect. How many times have you found yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, or I can't handle this. These negative self-judgments come from a place of emotional immaturity. The child part of you is feeling scared and vulnerable, and the parent part might be scolding you for feeling that way. But the adult part of you knows that it's okay to have these feelings, as long as you don't let them dictate your behavior. The adult knows that growth is a process and that self-compassion is key to becoming emotionally mature. So, what does this all look like in practice? First, you need to stop playing the games that have been holding you back. If you're constantly rejecting other people's ideas in the "why don't you, yes but" game, start listening more openly and responding without judgment. If you've been playing the "I am okay, you are not okay" game, recognize that you're projecting your own insecurities onto others, and try to see them as equals instead of looking down on them. By breaking free of these games, you create space for healthier, more genuine connections with others. Second, you need to make a habit of checking in with your internal states. Are you operating from the parent, child, or adult? When you catch yourself slipping into one of the other states, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how can I respond to this situation in a way that is rational, fair, and emotionally balanced? Practicing this simple question can help you make decisions that align with emotional maturity. Lastly, learn to be patient with yourself. Emotional maturity is not something that happens overnight. It's a lifelong journey. You're going to make mistakes, but it's how you handle those mistakes that matters. The adult part of you will recognize that errors are opportunities for growth, not signs of failure. As you begin to adopt the principles of emotional maturity, you'll start noticing the changes not just in yourself, but in your relationships too. People will begin to treat you with more respect and understanding because you're no longer playing games or reacting out of impulse. You'll find yourself navigating life with more confidence, more peace, and more genuine connections. In conclusion, emotional maturity is about taking control of your emotions, recognizing when you're falling into old, unhealthy patterns, and learning to respond to life from a place of balance and reason. By stepping out of the games we've been conditioned to play and adopting the adult state, we can create deeper, more fulfilling relationships and live lives that are grounded in emotional maturity. Remember, emotional maturity isn't something that happens overnight, but with self-awareness, practice, and patience, it is something that can be cultivated. Thank you for watching, and I hope you feel empowered to take the first steps toward embracing emotional maturity and building more balanced, fulfilling relationships in your life.